Thank you, everyone, and welcome to tonight's council meeting. I declare the ordinary council meeting of the 14th of November 2023 open. Persons in the gallery are advised that under the Local Government Act 1993, a person may not tape record the proceeding of a meeting of a council or committee without the authority of the council or committee. Tape recording includes a video camera and an electronic device capable of recording speech. Mobile phones must be turned off so as not to disrupt the meeting. Anyone, including councillors, found using a mobile phone will be told to leave the meeting immediately and for the duration of the said meeting. An audio recording of this meeting will be taken for minute-taking purposes as authorised by the Local Government Act 1993. This meeting is live streamed on Council's website to allow the community to follow Council debates and decisions without the need to attend meetings in person. Members of the public attending or speaking at a meeting agree to have their image, voice and personal information, including name and address, recorded and publicly broadcast. Strathfield Council does not accept liability for any defamatory remarks or inappropriate comments that are made during the course of the meeting. Any part of the meeting that is held in closed session will not be live streamed. Councillors and members of the gallery, please note that the microphone for streaming purposes is very sensitive and will record all sounds in the room. The mayoral diary for September 23 and expenses claimed by all councillors has been tabled for your information as per resolution of Council 147/19. In addition, the annual disclosure of pecuniary interest returns as reported in item CCS6, tabling of annual disclosure and pecuniary interests and other matters return, clause 4.21 and schedule 1 of the Code of Conduct have been tabled. Councillors, in accordance with the mandatory provisions of the Model of Code of Conduct, I remind councillors of the obligations to which you swore by taking the oath or affirmation in that you will faithfully and impartially carry out the functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested under the Local Government Act 1993 or in any other act to the best of your ability and judgment. So if you stand for the prayer. We pray that our deliberations today will be objective and decisions are impartial and made for the benefit of the whole community. And to recognise our traditional custodians, I wish to acknowledge the Wongal people, the traditional custodians of the land on which we meet, and pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging. Thank you. So are there any other apologies, Mr. Mamo? Is Councillor?
Yeah, we were driving 15 minutes late.
So apologies for Councillor Blackmore being 15 minutes late. Really late. Disclosures of interest. Anyone have any disclosures of interest? Councillor, what is your disclosure?
Shall I not read out when the motion comes up, or?
No, you've met.
In
regard to?
respect of P3, which is non-pecuniary significant, the director of a charity that I act for in a professional capacity is a director of a company owning land which may be affected by the motion considered by council. I will leave the room when it's considered.
Thank you very much. Anyone else?
I also regarding the P3 as with him president, the elders. We have some. I may stay the room.
You may stay in the room.
Yeah.
You are going to stay in the room. Yeah, thank you very much.
Different one.
Any other pecuniary interests, councillors? No, all good. Thank you very much. Thanks, Warwick. Sorry. So acknowledgements. So I have 2 acknowledgements this evening, but do you want to do your first acknowledgement, councillor?
I can do after. I want to acknowledge 2 community events, Deepavali and Annapurna.
Okay, so we'll give you the floor as soon as I finish because mine are very quick. Okay, so I have two acknowledgements. My first acknowledgement is our state grant. I'm very happy to acknowledge that council has been awarded a very generous amount of $100,000 from our wonderful state Labor government. A special thank you to our very hard-working local member, Jason Lee, for helping council receive this grant. Council applied for this grant to improve two much-needed projects in Strathfield. $50,000 of the funds will go toward the upgrade of Tavistock Park in Homebush West and $50,000 to a new sound and acoustic system in the Homebush West Community Centre. These funds will certainly improve much-needed upgrades in that certain park and in the centre itself. Our acknowledgement too is Remembrance Day. Last Saturday was Remembrance Day. On the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, we remember those who were injured and those who gave their lives to war. We stopped to honour their sacrifice so that we may have the freedoms that the envy of the world that we have here today, lest we forget. Thank you. Councillor Data, your acknowledgements, please.
Before I acknowledge that, Madam Mayor, if I can say that I would like to acknowledge the hard efforts and the grant that the Honourable Jason Lee has organized for the council. These two locations where those $50,000 each are going to be spent are highly needed. Tavistock Park, the kids there with a lot of units around, they have been crying for it. And the acoustics of the community center is very, very poor. So I really commend the efforts of Jason Lee, and I would like to make a note that we say that there's a lot of appreciation to the Honourable Jason Lee. And yeah,
Thank you very much, Councillor. And your acknowledgement?
Yes, my acknowledgement. Madam Mayor, my first acknowledgement is about regarding the celebration of Deepavali. Over the last couple of weeks, as many of you probably know, more directly, others probably not so directly, that Deepavali is being celebrated across New South Wales. On the last 7th November, I attended a celebration of Deepavali in the Museum of Contemporary Arts, organized by the Premier of New South Wales. This celebration, some of you know, I started in 2003. That was the first ever celebration of Deepavali in New South Wales or Australian Parliament. And this has been continued. That was a great celebration. And also in 2012, when I became a councillor, the Strathfield Council was the first council in New South Wales celebrated Deepavali in 2013. And now, of course, the Strathfield Council is not involved directly, but many of our community organizations and also including SHAIJ has been celebrating Deepavali, of course, some support from our council as well. Now, because one of the things that has come across, particularly from the various top officials, that Hinduism is a major religion now. It's not a small religion that is used to be called 10 years ago. So, and some of the people who asked me what I thought it was I should probably say it here as well, that we all probably know that Deepavali is a win of evil or good over evil and darkness. We know about that. It's about dispelling the myths or prejudices with knowledge. But what is the knowledge? What is the knowledge? That's the thing is not very well known. We will talk about Deepavali. It's about a light, a row of lights, dispelling myths, prejudices, bigotry, discrimination, all of that. So the light, it represents the light that we talk about, the light of the Hindu faith, which is that each and every individual that are created equal in the image of the same God. So this is the Hinduism's message of equality. The second pillar of the Hinduism, the Deepavali means is that each of us, if we want, we can attain the divinity if we put our effort in it, which is the message of Deepavali's message of social equity. The third message of Deepavali is that the essence of all religions are in agreement. Then the third message of Deepavali. These are the messages. And the fourth message of Deepavali and Hinduism is that respect for women. Women are the stronger nature, and women must be respected. And the exemplified by one of the examples is the myth goes that Durga Puja, one of the most recent events as well, and Durga Puja, when the demon was taking over the world, some many thousands of years ago, each and every individual gods tried to kill the demon, but they couldn't. So they all contributed to create one god that would kill the demon. And what they did was they created a god, but except that the god was a woman god, not a man god. And that was a goddess Durga. And recently the celebration of Durga also took place around Sydney. So these are the messages of Deepavali that we all should know. So what it is about, what it comes from. And I appreciate the support of various communities and various councils also for supporting Deepavali. And I would like, that's my Deepavali.
Thank you very much, Councillor.
And the other celebration that I would like to refer to is Annakut. Annakut is, there are two words into it. Kut means a mountain and Anna means rise. This goes back to when some evil force was inundating the world with rain, and particularly in a particular city, which is named Vrindavan, the deluge was so much that it was washing away the residents and their hearts, cattle, everything. And Lord Krishna, on this auspicious occasion, raised the mountain to cover the whole village, to protect the villagers from the rain and flood and all of that. And so that is Kut, that means a mountain, that reflects that. And then the communities and Lord Krishna, they gathered food to support the communities all across, so the people who were needing food. So on this occasion, what is happening around Sydney, Greater Sydney, is people are collecting food, collecting donations, and then making those donations, giving those donations to various organizations such as the Smith family and others to support the less fortunate people in our community. And I particularly would like to mention the celebration of Annakut by perhaps Swaminarayan Temple. They are an exemplary of the organization, and they have been doing it for many years. This year, they have done it in a bigger scale in Blacktown Showground. Thank you, Madam Mayor, for the opportunity.
Thank you, Councillor. Thank you. Oh, sorry.
Very
Yes,
brief.
Councillor Maheshwari.
Thank you. On the 3rd of November, I had the great honour to attend the Kokoda Memorial on behalf of the Mayor. The day is obviously less acknowledged than Remembrance Day, but it marks the day that Australian soldiers raised the Australian flag as part of the New Guinea campaign in World War II. The event was incredibly well prepared, and it featured the Minister for Veteran Affairs, Edmund Talon, was in attendance, as well as a host of MPs, local officials, but most importantly, veterans. The cinemagraph was raised by 4 veterans of the campaign, and I was quite grateful to be there. And we
Thank you so much. Thank you for representing me that day. So we go to item 6, councillors, the confirmation of last month's meeting. So the council meeting of 10th of October 2023. Can I have a mover for that, please? Thank you, Councillor Hall. Seconded, Councillor Data. So I'm asking for a vote on this. All in favour? Okay, unanimous vote. I move that carried. Thank you. I have 2 mayoral minutes tonight, councillors and council. And I did have them. Yeah. Right. Staying here. Where have they gone? I got them. magic out of the bottom of my bag. So the first acknowledgement is, yes. First acknowledgement tonight is the passing of George Hallworth, who is a former councillor of Strathfield Council, and not only a councillor, but a very good friend. I move that council formally acknowledges the passing of Mr. George Hallworth, former alderman of Strathfield Council. Number two, that the family of the late Mr. Hallworth receive a letter from the Mayor passing on council's sincere condolences. And three, that a donation of $500 be made to the Cancer Council requested by the family in lieu of flowers. I'd like to also welcome George's daughter Leslie and her beautiful daughter and granddaughter to our meeting tonight. So the rationale for all of this, I'll just read you a little bit about George if you'd like to hear. This is how we put out our notice to our community. I regret to announce the passing of George Hallworth, a greatly respected and long-standing member of the Strathfield community and a former alderman of Strathfield Council. George and his wife Catherine made their home in Strathfield for over 50 years and raised a family of 4 children and were proud grandparents and proud great-grandparents. George operated a general store at Cave Road, Strathfield for many years, where he frequently interacted with residents and developed experience in running a small business in the Strathfield area. He contested the 1980 council election and was elected as an alderman. He again contested the 1987 election and was elected for his second term. He served a total of 7 years on council. As an alderman, George dedicated his efforts to a wide range of committees, serving as vice chairman of the Parks Committee in 1982 to 83, deputy chair of the Community Services Committee in 1988, and as its chair in 1989 to 1990. He was chair of the Library Committee from 1989 to 1991. George was heavily involved in community life of Strathfield, and he freely gave his time to many local organisations, including Rotary, Meals on Wheels, the Red Cross, Provis, and School for Seniors. His services were recognised when he was awarded the Centenary Medal in 2001 for his long service to the community through the Strathfield School for Seniors and Meals on Wheels. George's funeral was held in St Anne's Anglican Church on the 3rd of November 2023. And our board also already recommended that a condolence letter be sent and $500 be forwarded to the Cancer Council. I commend this mayoral minute to the council. Thank you so much. All in favour, councillors? Unanimous vote. I move that that's been carried. Thank you so much for being with us tonight, Leslie. We have a long meeting ahead of us, and if you're welcome to stay, but if you would like to leave, you're very welcome to leave as well.
Thank you. If you don't mind, we'll go get going. That was really lovely. Thank you so much, and thank you for your generous donation to the Cancer Council. It's such a lovely thing for us to hear the difference that his life made, and
He really did. And we all knew George. We all knew George from Rotary. He was a great man and always a wonderful man to speak to and give us memories of Strathfield. He was fantastic. Yeah, we will miss him.
Thank you all so much.
Oh, so happy to be here. Thank you. That's all right. That's all right. You're allowed. Thank you so much. Good girl.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Second minute. And the mayoral minute is in regard to illegal dumping and waste management. I move that council requests that the Director of Planning and Environment prepare and implement a program to meet the following objectives: improved collection of illegal dumping in our streets and parks, decreased waiting times for clean-up of bookings, furniture, white goods, small appliances for residents, improved management of bins to reduce overspill which attracts birds and animals, and to increase waste education and awareness and community engagement to improve the management of waste in the local government area. And number two, the council approved the allocation of funds from the domestic waste levy to implement the requested additional services. I don't think I have to read out the rationale, councillors. I think you all have heard from our residents of the problems that we have with waste. Has anyone got any questions or additions to this Mayoral Minute? Yes, councillor.
For the B point, decrease the wasting times for cleanup bookings. Can I add, especially for those moving out? Those furnitures are, or, majority come from those people are moving out. That will not be great.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, that's
All
what I
right, so
want.
decreased waiting times for clean-up bookings for people who are moving in.
Prioritizing.
Oh, prioritising.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
What's the wording would you like, councillor?
So especially for those are moving out.
Okay, with priority to those who are leaving their premises. Sorry, councillor? For those who are leaving their premises. Okay, anyone else, councillors? All good? So I'll put it to you, all in favour? Thank you. Carried. Motion has been carried. Thank you. All right, councillors, we now go to items by exception. So I move that in accordance with section 13 of the Code of Conduct of Meeting Practice, that items be dealt with by exception and that they be adopted as recommended by a single motion. So we go to our papers, councillors. So we've already done the Mayoral Minutes. So page 18, GNU1, establish a panel, we will discuss that. Okay, page 20, GNU2, annual report.
Yeah.
Do you want to discuss it?
Yeah.
Yes. CCS1, public art policy. CCS2, a report to consider the end of discretionary grants.
Yes, please.
CCS3, councillors' facilities and expenses policy amendment.
Out.
Please. CCS4, appointment of the Code of Conduct Review Panel.
Oh, no, not that one, sorry.
CCS5, ordinary council meeting committee and council workshop schedule. CCS6, tabling of annual disclosure of pecuniary interests and other matters returned. CCS7, councillor workshop 24 October 23.
Sorry, that's very small. Right now. The councillor expense funds, what's that under earlier? And the councillor is at CCS3.
It's already discussing that. You pulled that one. You already pulled that one. Councillor workshop 24 October 23, CCS7. CCS8, councillor workshop 1 November 23. CCS9, current status of council resolutions. CCS10, tenders advertised and awarded in October 23. CCS11, investment report. CCS12, quarterly budget review. PE1, review of Part A, dwelling houses and some ancillary structures amendment, discuss. PE2, local transport study, discuss. please. PE3, Strathfield Local Environment Plan. Oh, that's, yes, sorry. We have to discuss that. PE4, correspondence from Minister for Planning and Public Spaces.
Yes.
You want that discussed?
Yes.
Get that? Yep. PE4 is out, yeah. EO1, provision of additional bins, Henley Road and the Crescent. EO2, draft mobile food vending vehicle policy. 11.1, report from Audit Risk and Improvement Committee. 11.2, report from Traffic Committee. 12.1, electric charging stations audit.
Yes.
You want to talk about that one? Good, and then our closed meeting will be in separate cover. Yeah. All right, so I have a mover for that, please. Mover Councillor Davis, seconder, Councillor Reddy. All in favour? I carried. Motion is carried. Thank you. Okay, so now we go to public forum. Yes. So we have two speakers tonight for our public forum, councillors. Our first speaker is Mr. Clement Bourne, and he will be discussing the item PE3. If you could come up to the table, Clement. Yep. And give your name and address. And you've got 3 minutes to speak. Thank you very much.
My name is Clement Bourne. My address is 12 Walter Street, Cambridge West. Good evening, Mayor, councillors and staff. I own property on Walter Street, and I'm here to talk about the removal of the Walter Street Conservation Area. Just a bit of background, most of you guys know already, but there are only 12 houses within that immediate area of the Welfare Street conservation area. 6 fronting Welfare Street, 6 fronting Flemington Road. Our properties are now adjacent to a 24-hour warehouse complex, which opened last year. The residents have had to put up with great noise and pollution during construction, and then also now we have to put up with trucks and other vehicles entering and exiting 24 hours, 7 days a week. So our small community of only 12 houses are very active with council and have participated in various DA submission panel meetings over the past few years, mostly in regards to that warehouse. And in fact, after the last objectives meeting that we attended for the DA 2021.85, the panel actually gave a recommendation that council should remove the conservation status for our houses so that we can move on. Unlike other areas under consideration, as I can see in the business papers, such as Worcester Street, where we are located, there are no other houses or residents nearby that will be impacted by such decision in Welfare Street. We are surrounded by warehouses, pubs, and city markets, and also a future hotel that will be coming. So we really are in an isolated pocket, which is frankly out of place. I also want to add that the majority of the 12 houses, as well as the warehouse that fronts Parramatta Road, 199 Parramatta Road, are on a united front on this issue. And unlike most resident action groups, we are progressive and we welcome development. So finally, it may be years before Parramatta Road Corridor Urban Transformation Strategy is actioned by the government. But meanwhile, our residents will be stuck in limbo with their properties. So I wanted to urge council, and on behalf of the other residents as well, to urge council to not defer this and remove the conservation area to help expedite the process and to conform with the Parramatta Road Corridor Urban Transformation Strategy. Because after all, it is the first step to turn this government's vision into a reality. Thanks very much.
Thank you so much. Now I'd like to call Mr. Cornell, please, to the table. If you just state your name and address, please, Mr. Cornell.
Cornell, 10 Welfare Street, Ambush West. Thanks everyone for the opportunity to say a few words today. So basically just like to voice some concern over the recommendation that came out for the conservation order in Welfare Street and that precedent around there. I speak on behalf of the 12 residents there. We're working together in trying to get that lifted. We've been speaking to multiple councillors and despite for a few years going on now since the development started, from dealing with the developer not adhering to the controls, multiple dust storms, deliveries just blocking the street. My partner was stuck there for like half an hour and missed an appointment because she's not that assertive. So this has been going on for a while. I know that the recommendation states that surrounding areas have significantly been redeveloped for commercial and industrial purposes, and the dwellings remain non-conforming but established land use. So that established land use is slowly getting diminished, I think, in terms of being the quiet little residential area that it once was. I've been in the street for 35 years. And my stepdad was like the head slaughterman at the advertise. He was there for over 70 years. But now I think that it's sort of unsustainable for homes having front and backyards, trying to, kids trying to play in the street. There's cars racing up and down there now. So I implore you to have a thought for the residents who have to live next door to this monstrosity of a commercial building towering over their houses. At some areas, 4 and 5 stories high, and pretty much on top of people's backyards, blocking their sunlight. There's no parking in the street anymore. You can't even get in and out of your driveway, and God forbid if you have 2 cars in the family because you can't park outside your own house. That's gone. So also things living next to a commercial building that we had to endure was some fire alarm went off the other week, and it was like a bell ringing night and day until Monday. Nobody came, and like if you're trying to sleep with your young kids. Also, as Clement mentioned, that there's a plan to build an 8-story hotel block at the back of the Wentworth. It's only going to make matters worse. So, lastly, just like you to consider what Clement and I have had to say today when we've taken into account the decision.
Thank you, Mr. Long.
Be okay to have a quick question.
Yeah, just one question, councillor.
I've heard that there's heritage in Welfare Street. Do you know any houses in Stratford that look like the houses in Welfare Street?
Not.
Thank you, councillor. And we'll discuss your that planning issue when we come up to the motion. Thank you very much. Thanks, Mr. Long. No, thanks, Mr. Connell. Don't know you by your last name. All right, so councillors, we're going into now the agenda of the meeting. We go to our items of council, to our reports. So we go to GMU1, establish a panel to determine the 2024 Citizen and Young Citizen of the Year panel. Okay, councillors, we need to have people to offer their services for the council, for the committee.
Yes.
Yes, I need a mover. Councillor Hall, seconded Councillor Reddy. So who's interested that the panel be established for selecting the Local Australia Day Awards, which includes the Mayor, 2 councillors and the previous year award winners. That council will nominate 2 councillors for the 2024 selection panel. That council invite the previous year awards winners to participate on the selection panel, and that the Mayor has the casting vote should a majority decision not be achieved in determining the winner for either category.
I would like to nominate Raj Tata and Nella Falls with him. Adam.
Councillor Hall and Councillor Dada, are you willing to be part of the panel? All good? Okay, so I put it to you, Councillor Hall.
I have a like to speak on it and if I may. So a couple of things that were a bit surprising, sorry, when I did read it.
Councillor Hall, did you send your amendments into?
Don't have to. Don't have to.
No, it's recommended,
Yes,
Councillor.
don't have to. That's right.
Thank you.
So I was a bit surprised when I read the Sports Person of the Year, the Environmental Citizen of the Year, and the Young Environmental Citizen of the Year, because we've never had them before. And so And I didn't read anything about what the criteria is. Huh? Okay, future.
That's the future.
So if then in the recommendation, it doesn't actually say, it doesn't actually say what the panel established for selection of local Australian award winners. Well, which ones are going to be that?
Only-
Citizen and.
It's only for citizen and young citizen of the year, but Mr. Mamo will explain.
Through you, Madam Mayor. So for the current year, because we've already opened up the nominations. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. Lebanese food does it too.
So the nominations that are open at the moment are for the citizen and young citizen awards. The categories that are listed at paragraph 2 in the report are those that are suggested for future categories. We didn't have a young citizen award last year. It would be implied through the recommendation that previous last year for 2023 was selected for both categories this year. Going forward, the winners 2 categories would then be invited to attend.
Thank you. And when it says that the council invite the previous year award winners, is that's 2? So we have 2 and 3 councillors, so that's 5. So we don't need number 4 for number 4.
Oh, in future years we do, when there's only one winner.
So do we need a future report to establish the criteria for this? Or you guys will do that next year? All right. I won't give you an extra word before Christmas. All right. Noted. Thank you.
So is everyone happy with that? There are no changes then? So we go forward? Okay, so I put it, sorry, councillor Blackmore, do you have anything to say in regard to the?
No, I'm fine.
you're
Thank
fine
you.
with that?
No, that was,
That's okay. We have put forward that councillor Data and councillor Hall will be on the committee for the citizen and the young citizen of the year. So I put that to you, councillors, all in favour? A unanimous vote. I move that is carried. Thank you very much. So the next one to be discussed is the annual report, GMU2. So that council endorsed the annual report. I think councillor Hall had some issues with this. I need a mover first. A mover, councillor Hall, second to councillor Chai.
Oh, so page 46. I'm assuming that the rent that hasn't shown up will be all fixed.
46.
Page 46. So it's half of the numbers are sort of gone, and that will be fixed. Like.
Yes. One moment, councillor Hall.
Through you, Madam Mayor. So the report is presented as a draft, ungraphically edited version of the annual report. If as soon as council endorses this, it'll be graphically designed and finalised so that we can submit before the deadline of 30 November.
Page 47, transport infrastructure. Just wondering, because I was looking at the snapshot where your rates were spent, and I just couldn't see where so where it says in page 47, transport infrastructure. That's under the capital works. That's under the capital works.
yeah, it's in the second half.
Yeah.
So what are you saying, councillor Hall?
I'm just wondering how much the transport infrastructure was as part of so if you go to page 46, major projects and capital works.
Yep.
Then you've got your capital on page 47, you've got your capital works snapshot. So I'm assuming everything that's in page 47 is in that major projects and capital works 22 million.
Right.
Yeah. So I was just wondering how much the transport infrastructure was as part of that 22 million. That's what I was wondering. And is that something that we should be doing?
And you want that separated from the bulk amount?
Yeah, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Okay.
That's all.
Mrs. Rennie, can I ask?
I will have to take that question on notice and have to get back to you with the specifics around that.
Thank you very much. Councillor Heston.
And,
Oh, sorry,
sorry,
Councillor
get
Moore.
page 50. I'll just get a typo
that's okay.
on the top page. I know, it counts as me. Progress of operational plans 2022 and 202S.
So it should be three.
And, the rest I will, page 103. Can you just go to page 103? Looking ahead.
Yep, got it.
So as looking ahead 2023, now, long time ago, I think it was actually in the last term, there is still a resolution up in the air somewhere about South Strathfield upgrades. And I think that we were going to budget for some planter boxes or something like that. So looking ahead, can we add that in the looking ahead? Because that resolution is still regulating in the system somewhere.
Councillor, yeah, one moment, councillor. Yes.
Chair, there is $50,000 in this year's budget for Strathfield South.
Thank you. So do we put that in there? Or?
This is very high level, but yes.
Want to make sure we get.
Okay, is that all now, councillor?
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Yeah,
councillor Heston.
No, I'm embarrassed on the last bit, my blurb.
You submitted your blurb late.
Yes,
Well, then you
That's it.
should apologise to council.
I apologize, council.
Thank
My
you.
fellow council.
Thank you.
Does that mean you amend now or?
You can amend now, councillor.
Yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Not a requirement, it's a recommendation.
Did you get it?
Yeah.
Oh, did you want to discuss it? Or is that all good? Everyone's happy. Councillor Child,
Madam Chair, one question.
what page, councillor?
Still on the first page of this letter. Page 21.
21?
It's like what the RGN mentioned about this not audited in these matters. And well, though, Councillor Hall has made some amendment and some questions of that, and Mr. Ronnie will come back later. So are we going to base on this is unaudited annual report to enforce it? And the financial report, and also here say that the financial information in the report may be adjusted once the audit is completed. I got a question, actually, based on this information, I got a question for Mr. Governance, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
through the
good,
chair to,
To the
yes,
chair,
that's
to the
okay.
chair, Mr. Governance, that, I'm glad I got to sit here next to him, I can ask questions easily.
You're not allowed to though.
Okay, I don't know whether something like this is, we discuss or endorse sort of the report something. It's lawful or, the script, about this one, can you explain it?
Mr. Lawrence, can you,
Oh,
okay,
You want me to repeat it?
Mr. Lawrence, I can explain it. So what councillor Chai is asking is if we put this report through now with questions still asking, can that still be changed or does it have to come back to council to be reviewed and voted on?
Through you, Madam Mayor, the council makes a decision on the matter, it's finalised and acted upon. If the recommendation is amended to provide a further report on the matter, then that can be included in the recommendation. That's what we're at.
Right. So, councillor, Mr. Mamo,
Through you, Madam Mayor. So maybe just to go back to Councillor Tri's original frame of questioning around the financial statements. So the financial statements are still being prepared at the moment, and they are unlikely to be audited until probably January next year. We're currently in discussion with the Office of Local Government about extension on the final date for the financial statements. There's a number of prior year errors that we're currently working through and correcting. And we're not in a position for the audit to commence until those prior year errors have been corrected in the financial report, in the financial statements. The annual report and the financial statements are essentially two separate things. The annual report is a report on the activities that we've completed in the past 12 months, and included as part of the annual report is the audited financial statements. Now, that's why we've noted in the report, and also where the financial figures are quoted in the annual report, that they are subject to audit. Once we've completed the audit of the financial reports, we will append that to this document, and we will update if there are any changes to those final numbers, and we would then represent that to you for your noting. But you are in a position to still endorse this version of the annual report to go to the Office of Local Government.
Sure, yes, councillor.
For these matters, I know in here we say about that we are going to send this one for the distribution. When can we send distribution? Based on which figure? Thank you.
This doesn't go on exhibition. So there's no requirement in the regulations or guidelines for the annual report to go on exhibition. You're endorsing the annual report to be submitted to the Office of Local Government by the due date of 30 November.
So the Office of Local Government needs this report by the 30th of November. And that's why we did it tonight in our council meeting. So the Office of Local Government get a yearly report on our activities and our financials by the 30th of November every year. So the yearly report has to be submitted by that date, and that's why it's brought to the council meeting tonight. Okay. Any further discussion, councillors? All good. I'll put it to you. Everyone in favour? I move that it's a unanimous. You're not voting? Yeah. Against? Okay, sorry. All in favour? Councillor Reddy, Councillor Blackmore, Councillor Data, Councillor Mahestran, and Councillor Hall, and Councillor Pensabini. And against? Councillor Chai. Thank you very much. I move that the motion and the report has been carried. So we go to now councillors, page 169. A report to consider the end of discretionary grants. So the recommendation, councillors, is that council retain the current discretionary program for 23-24 and include a similar program of the grants in the preparation of future annual budgets. And 2, that council resume the advertising and delivery of the 2023-24 grants program. Any discussion, councillors? Councillor Data.
You need a supporter.
I need a mover.
Yes.
Councillor Data is a mover. Councillor Reddy is the seconder. Any discussion, councillors? Councillor Mahestran. Hold here.
I'd like to move the amendment to the motion.
Sure.
The amendment is that the first word, which is when it says that council retain the current discretionary program for 23-24 and includes similar program grants. Then simply say that council not retain, and be in recommendation 2 that the council cease the advertising and delivery of the 23-24 grants program.
Thank you. Councillor Data, do you accept that amendment?
No.
No. Okay, so we will now vote on the motion. On the report. Councillor Data, you need to speak.
Yeah. Madam Mayor, I will be supporting this motion. The reason is with my experience of working with various communities, smaller and bigger, I think the support from our council on community development, on support for non-profits, for cultural enrichment, social services, environmental sustainability, community engagement, and inclusivity. These all are themes are in alignment with the council, broader council policies. And I know that we have evaluation methods of evaluation which incorporates, which aligns the grants with various policies of the council, and that's how we do it. So I think I will be supporting it because it is in full alignment with the council's policies of developing the community. Except, as I have mentioned before, I think just adding that probably this is not the forum, but at a particular forum, I would like to add some sort of added evaluation criteria to ensure that the impact of the grants are the people impacted are taken into consideration in the grant. But that's a different forum, but I will be supporting this motion because it is very important for community and come for holding our community UAG.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Reggie, did you want to say? Oh, sorry. Councillor Maheswaran, would you like to?
Very briefly then. I will say that on 5th September, Council decided to halt the advertising publication of discretionary grants programs. And what was meant to appear before Council today is a plan to phase out these grants.
There is a resolution for that to come back. There is a resolution for that to come back. Oh, not for that, sorry.
Yeah. And so the rationale, so that really, in truth, we're reaffirming a previous decision of council, and what we're meant to look at is how we're going to do it, whether we'll do it over immediately over a couple of years or a couple of months, right? So the fact that this has been re-agitated, frankly, I don't know why. In truth, everyone's voted for it, and everyone voted to cease the advertising last month. So I'm quite surprised that they've decided, or it may be of some surprise and some concern, then surely we shouldn't have stopped advertising to begin with. The reasons for getting rid of the discretionary grants, in my mind, are threefold. One, council should, in my mind, always strive to do the core business of council, and we are better off providing services to community groups by way of things like facilities, by subsidised access to our facilities, and where the council officers can assist. But straight grant funding is inherently problematic. Everyone here is involved in the community. That's why you are elected. You wouldn't be able to get elected without doing so. And that means that many of the organisations that come before us will present conflicts of interest. And so every round of funding, while you can do your level best to declare those conflicts of interest, there's a risk. There's a risk that you know someone, or you know someone who knows someone that may be the recipient of a cash grant from the council. It's inherently risky every single time these grants go past, and there's so many applications, and you need to deal with each and every one of them. So there's
anything to do with that process, Councillor.
Yeah, but there's a appropriate risk. We look at it as a council, we endorse the program at the end of it. And number three, right, it's such a small amount of money that's being awarded. There's no way that council can realistically and cost effectively ensure accountability on the way it's being spent. The money goes out, but do we see what comes out on the other end?
Yes, we do. Every year. They always get asked.
The code of meeting practice must have changed recently.
But that's, yeah, I know. I've just thanked our government for $100,000, and here we are stopping grants.
Point of order.
Excuse me, Councillor, take a seat.
The mayor can't just interject when.
What's your point of order, Councillor? What number?
Interject.
What number in the code of conduct, Councillor?
We had a big session on these interjections.
Take a seat, Councillor. Thank you.
I'm almost finished. The council is such a small amount of money. There's no cost-effective way to follow these things up in a robust and rigorous way. we're far better off redeploying this money. It's such a small amount of money, and we're better off redeploying it somewhere else and ending this grants program.
Thank you,
That's
councillor.
all.
Thank you. Any other further discussion? So, oh, sorry, councillor Reddy.
Like to support Councillor Maheshwaran because grants are given only to a number of organizations and they get a really good chunk of money, that's it. But if we put the same money in subsidizing our facilities, we are marketing our facilities and we can give the same money to more people.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I put it to you, councillors. All in favour of the motion? Councillor Darto, Councillor Blackmore, Councillor Pensabeni, Councillor Chai. Against the report, Councillor Maheshwaran, Councillor Reddy and Councillor Hall. I declare the report lost. Carried. You lost.
No losing in democracy.
No losing in democracy, exactly right. Just, you know, we've discussed this before, Councillor Maheshwaran.
You've advertised last time. Why don't you stop the advertising?
Councillor Maheshwaran, we'll talk about this later. So we're up to CCS3, Councillors' Facilities and Expense Policy, page number 177. 178. Okay, the recommendation that councillors' facilities and expense policy be amended for the 23-24 budget allocation for attendance at conferences and seminars by councillors be increased from 4,000 to 35,000 per annum, which equates to an allocation of 5,000 per councillor per annum. Mr. Mamu, do you want to just discuss in regard to what this is about, as there could be some confusion? Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So the purpose of this report is there's an inconsistency in the council's expenses policy and what's provided for in the budget. The expenses policy only allows for $4,000 per annum in total for councillors to attend conferences. But we have a $20,000 allocation in the budget. What this is proposing is that each councillor is allocated about $5,000 per councillor per annum to attend conferences. And in order for that to occur, we need to increase the budget from 20,000 to 35,000. That's with a view to allow councillors that opportunity to get that professional development, that networking opportunity, attending conferences such as the one that was held just over the last 3 days for the local government New South Wales conference, as well as the Alba conference. Those two conferences alone would utilise most of that 5,000 allocation. So it's merely just to do a bit of tidy up between policy and budget and allow councillors the right level of opportunity to get that goal. Need to support you in doing it wrong.
Thank you, Mr. Member. I need a mover for this motion. Councillor Dada, seconded Councillor Reddy. Anyone want to discuss? Councillor Hall?
I have a question. Is this my answer? Exhibition finish yet?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. The original policy went out on exhibition and we were waiting for any submissions that were received. There were no submissions made by the public. However, staff picked up on the issue in relation to the amount in the budget and the amount that was allocated in the policy. And as a consequence, we have come with a submission to increase that, and that's why we're here today. We don't consider it a major change to the policy, therefore I don't believe it needs to go back on exhibition.
Another question was, if you go to page 183, I don't know why, but I was page 183, home office expenses. Didn't we go through this at quite some length? And it was, I believe, Councillor Dada's motion where this was changed, this office expenses amount was changed. I thought it was changed to 3,000 or something like that. and that's home office expenses. Can we go through this where we added a few things?
Yes, Councillor.
Just through you, Madam Mayor, when this matter last came to council, all those matters that councillor Data raised have been included in the policy that you have before you. The only issue we're here for is in relation to the conferences. So the amounts that were discussed and agreed upon at the council are in the policy that you have here.
It was 1,500.
It did. It's completely different, Councillor Hall. Remember you said that the money never changed? Is it matter?
Through you, Madam Mayor, so that's correct, the amount didn't change, it's still 1,500. The debate that I believe council was on was around the definition of what was included.
Yes.
And a lot of robust debate around what was a cabinet versus a shelf.
I will query, Madam Mayor.
You right now,
Oh, yeah,
Councillor
yeah,
Hall?
after-
You finished?
No, after,
Councillor Dada?
I was just, I was a bit confused earlier that why we are increasing from 4,000 to 35,000, which is almost 9 times, 900%. But now I understand what it is. This $5,000 per councillor, does it include just attendance of conference or professional development as well?
Madam Mayor, there is a separate allocation in the policy of $2,000 per councillor for professional development. So the 5,000 is for attendance at the conference, which would include things like travel, if there was an overnight stay required, as well as the registration.
Any other questions, councillors? No, I'm putting it to councillors, all in favour? Unanimous, I move that the report's been carried, thank you. Next, report for discussion is page 256, PE1. The recommendation, a review of Part A dwelling houses and ancillary structures amendment of the Strathfield Consolidated Development Control Plan be undertaken. Any proposed amendments to Part A dwelling houses and ancillary structures amendment of the Strathfield Consolidated Development Control Plan 2005 be brought back to a council workshop and meeting to seek endorsement prior to being placed on public exhibition. Councillor Maheswaran, you were asked to discuss that one.
I'd like to move an amendment.
Amendment, thank you.
That to provide as an additional 0.3, that the review look to preserve the heritage appearance of this Strathfield home terrace.
At the review,
Yes.
are you getting this? At the review,
Look to preserve the heritage appearance of the Strathfield home terrace.
and going forward. Okay,
Just
just one. Any further discussion, councillors? Okay. Everyone happy with that amendment? Who was the second? Did I move that? Did anyone move it? Councillor Data, seconded Councillor Hall. Are you happy with that amendment, Councillor Data? Thank you. Okay, putting it to you now, councillors, all in favour? Unanimous decision, I declare that carried. The next one is the bus, page 262, PE2.
Moving.
Second.
Councillor Maheswaran, moving.
Second.
Seconded Councillor Betty. You think I'm upset with you, councillor? I think I'm taking it out of you on that. What page again? 262. We will discuss. So who asked to speak about this? Councillor Hall.
I'd like to move an amendment.
Yes?
So in one B to add, Strathfield Station via Homebush West and Homebush.
Say that again, councillor?
To add Homebush West and Homebush. Because you're coming through Coralie Avenue, so to get at Homebush, you have to, you might as well go through Homebush West.
But it is going through Homebush West first.
It says between Homebush West, Coralie
Adding
Avenue.
one word, that's all. Via Homebush West, Homebush.
Oh, right, sorry, it's not the, yeah.
I think it is, apologies, but it's just via and it's not.
Councillor Mahestra.
Yes, it's just that it's not saying that it's going to Homebush West, it's via Homebush and the bus.
That's what I
runs
thought.
through. I mean, but technically that's not Stratford.
Yeah, so if you just have a look at the screen. And can you highlight it, David? Mr. McQuaid,
Just add Homebush.
just what you've changed.
Like Homebush West and where Homebush, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's
You
all.
happy with that?
Yeah.
Councillor Mahestra, it's very picky, but it's okay to put in.
You can't go to a place via that place.
Ms. Harley, can you explain a little more about the bus route?
Homebush West and Homebush. Why can't
That's okay, I knew you would enjoy that.
Well, yes, the recommendation of the staff is that we look at a route that does travel from Homebush West to Strathfield Station via Homebush, that would include Homebush West, as it is at the origin of the bus. So I think that including it in the resolution as indicated by Councillor Hall doesn't necessarily, it still makes it clear to the staff about what is being proposed.
So,
Makes it clear.
Maybe.
so, Mr. Mamo,
Very Madam Mayor, maybe just to clarify, that's what Sahara implied, starting at Homebush West and going back to Homebush West. It will come out of
Coralie,
down Parramatta Road.
and then
Homebush,
into Homebush
up
West.
to Homebush West and then back. So that's,
I'm quite wrong.
Yeah, that's right.
it'll start on the western side of
It's
Centenary
got to go to
Drive
school.
and it'll come back over, then it needs to make its way up to Homebush West via Homebush and then back.
Okay, I'm quite wrong.
Okay, it's all right. It's very hard to have an airline view of Sandstone. So is everyone very happy now with the way that's worded?
Yeah, Homebush West.
Okay. Councillor Bracknell? You're not happy? Oh, no, you're not happy about the bus anyway. Who's the mover of that motion? Councillor Mahestra? Yes, are you happy with that amendment?
Yes.
Right, thank you very much. Okay, I put it to you, councillors. All in favour? All in favour, Councillor Mahestra, Councillor Data, Councillor Reddy, Councillor Hall, Councillor Chai, Councillor Pennsylvania, against, Councillor Blackmore. The report has been carried. Sorry. Oh, sorry, Mr. McQuaid, you got it? Everyone except Councillor Blackmore. Got it. So we're now looking at PE3, page 386, and before we look at that, Councillor Mahestra is leading. And whilst Councillor Mahestra is gathering his things, given that this item is a planning proposal at a strategic level, councillors are reminded that those with a conflict of interest that are a resident or ratepayer are provided with an exemption that allows them to stay in the meeting during its consideration. However, any discussion by the affected councillor should be specifically focused at a strategic level and not on non-strategic specifics of the proposal. Okay, so I put the report on PE3, page 386. Bit slow, and I need a mover for this motion. Councillor Darwin, seconded. Councillor Hall, Councillor Reddy. 386. Are there any other conflicts of interest, councillors? Are you doing?
I'm very confident. I have been approached and had the meetings, I believe, with the director was the mayor. But I believe that doesn't.
The director around?
Planning.
Oh, okay.
With someone property here, one is the
Okay.
mayor, but
Yeah.
that doesn't.
You're staying on.
Yeah.
And councillor Chai, do you want to restate your conflict of interest? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, because I'm the, one of the residents involved, which, included the whole 12 houses, including the welfare street. I'm not sure whether I can stay here, but I don't mind.
No, it's your choice if you stay here, councillor, but you have to understand that there's you need to understand that there's any discussion about the effect, you can only talk about specifics and not direct,
Yeah.
okay?
The 52.
So as a homeowner and as a conflict of interest, that's where you stand, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, so we get to the report. So the recommendation, you can see the recommendations, councillors, in accordance with the provisions of the. Yeah, 386. Yeah, the mover was councillor Data and seconded by councillor Reddy. Councillor Hall.
So one of the things that, so in page 389, LEP change is no longer pursued. I do understand why they're not being pursued, and I agree wholeheartedly. However, I did just want to clear something up for my own, so that I can actually give residents the right information. Number 5 and page 389. I thought that during the last Liberal government state, that boarding houses were only allowed in R3 and not in R2s. I thought that was something that, was it Anthony Roberts when he was minister? I just remember that we had this councils all over the state were writing to the planning minister asking that boarding houses be removed from R2 and only be placed into R3. So, but here it's talking about R2s. So R2. So is that right? Did that ministerial direction go ahead with boarding houses in R3?
Through the I would have to take that on notice, but there has been changes to the housing steps in the boarding houses that have been going through in recent times. The medium density housing study is also looking at that sort of housing as well. So the diversity of housing is being looked at as well. And we can come back to you when we come back to you with medium density housing strategy. And if there is an opportunity for us to consider that as an inclusion or an exclusion, then we could probably do it.
Okay. So for the time being, does that need to be included as part of the recommendation, or is that just going to be? Because that is important. I know to the residents that is quite important that boarding houses be excluded from R2. And I am 99.9% sure that there was a ministerial thing that came through that the boarding houses were not going to be allowed in R3, in R2.
In R2.
The problem, they were going to be allowed in.
That's why all the councils wrote to the minister. And then he did come out saying, okay, yeah, they're not allowed in R3. They're not allowed in R2. That's what I thought happened. But it was a couple of years ago now. I mean, I could go back to work and look it up.
Through that, my understanding is the removal here, as it's indicated, is that they were introduced as additional provisions in R2. and that's already happened.
So we're not happy.
I think that happened in, just ask the manager of planning, I don't think that happened in about 2020.
Just recently.
In the last couple of years.
Station.
Alright. Okay, anyway, I do like what you recommended that back for the next round.
More information as part of the medium density housing study.
And then the other one I do want to address is page 393. LEC changes on hold to pursue the other side. So, is there any reason, did we discuss why some of these are being put on hold? Is that because we do want to wait for that report that comes through? I mean, removing Wellfish Street Heritage, that has certainly been a no-brainer for a very long time. I'm just wondering why we need to wait for the report for that. And then the increased minimum lot size will do occupancy from 560 to 650. So I'm not sure why that would have to wait for a report.
Through the chair, are you asking?
Through the
Planning?
chair. Through the chair.
Thank you, councillor Councillor Hall.
In relation to the items 2 to 6, those ones are subject to the medium density housing strategy. The reason why we've deferred those at the moment is because we got feedback from the Department of Planning that we didn't have a strong enough evidence base to pursue a change to our planning controls. And that's going to be informed by the medium density housing strategy, which is underway at the moment. Council allocated funds to that earlier in the year, and we intend to come back to council early next year on that. So they're not, it's not that we've said no to them, we just don't have an appropriate evidence base to pursue them. And in relation to Welfare Street, so you might remember, councillors, that you have endorsed a progression of the master plan for Parramatta Road corridor, the transportation area. That was earlier in the year, but the council didn't allocate a budget for that, for technical studies. The housing conservation area does require a technical study to change the LEP with the planning controls. Because it sits in the LEP, the Department of Planning requires us to have a study. However, council, we are liaising regularly with the Department of Planning and Environment about mutual funding for Parramatta Road corridor. And I can also advise that we are going to be tabling a report about Parramatta Road corridor at the December council meeting, and that would be identifying gaps in information, and that would be one of the gaps that we have, and then identifying ways that we may be able to progress in the current circumstance without
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. So the sake of our residents that are in the room, did you understand that explanation about Welfare Street and why we can't lift it at this stage?
Because there was a budget for a technical study.
Yeah.
And
And we are
secondly-
now, and it's not off the table, but we are working with the Department of Planning to receive money to have that study done, and then we can go forward. But there will be a report in December that will explain a little bit more. So it's certainly not off the table, and we are looking at it, and it's there. But at this stage, we have to take it off the LEP planning at the moment.
And the potential work around that.
Yes, definitely, and we are, and it's there. It's always going to be part of that study. All right. That's no problem. Okay, so any further discussion, councillors? No? I put it to you, all in favour? Oh, that's unanimous, yes. Jennifer? No, okay. Sorry, no, he's not against, he's drawn. Oh, you have to vote.
If you're in the room.
Oh, if you're in the room, you have to vote, councillor Chai. Oh, so, okay. So you can abstain, but it will be a negative vote. Okay, so councillor Data, councillor Blackmore, councillor Reddy, councillor Pensbini, councillor Hall, all in favour, and councillor Chai is a negative. So I move that the report be carried. Thank you. Can someone get councillor Heston, please? He was watching, let's see. Right, page 398.
It's fascinating about Vikings.
Fascinating book about Vikings. We need to know. So 398, councillors, PE4, correspondence from Minister for Planning and Public Spaces, low and medium density housing zones in New South Wales. I need a mover for this. Councillor Blackmore. Councillor Blackmore is the mover. Councillor Data is the seconder. The recommendation that council note the Minister for Planning and Public Spaces, Mr Paul Scully, has written to councils in New South Wales regarding the need to allow for more housing in low and medium density zones to help increase the supply and diversity of homes. Councillor Maheswaran, Councillor Blackmore, you were the mover, you had the right to speak. Good. Councillor Maheswaran was the one that pulled this one out.
I'd like to move the amendment, please.
Yes, sure.
Madam Mayor, the amendment to the recommendation would be to add that council will write to the Honourable Paul Scully, Minister for Planning, by way of reply, and note that council desperately requires additional funds to undertake planning in this council, as does every other council that's forced to deal with this issue.
Thank you very much, councillor.
Not bad.
Are you happy with that amendment, councillor Blackmore?
Yep.
Thank you. Already done it. That doesn't matter, it's already gone. But that's okay. Actually, that should have been put in there that we've already.
No, that's what she told, just she has.
Yeah. All good. Okay, put it to you, councillors. All in favour? A unanimous decision. I believe that's carried. Okay, 461, 12.1, electric charging stations. Okay, mover for this motion, councillor Blackwell, seconded councillor Chai. Councillor Blackmore, do you need to talk on this motion?
Just quickly, basically, this is, we've had some EV stations implemented in the previous council term. And I just think they're in public car parks, one of them which is going to become a paid parking car park. So I just don't know, well, I don't have the information, I don't know, are we getting funds from these EV chargers? Is it a private company? Who is it? So it's just important to just try and get a bit of information about that, and then how it will affect, basically, if we have a paid parking arrangement in a car park, how the EV charging will work.
Any other councillors to discuss?
Just a question.
Councillor Heston?
They'll just ask, are there EV chargers on council property at the moment?
Do you remember how many?
Councillors, Mr Member will answer.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I
Well, that's
will
Kathy.
obviously complete the review for the proper audit. I'm aware of two that are in our car parks. Bressington and then there's also, I'm aware of a Jolt charging station.
Which West Parking Station?
No,
There was. Oh, it was. There wasn't the car park. Oh, right.
I don't know, but there is a Jolt one.
Yes.
Now as well. That's all.
Sure. Any further questions, councillors? So now we've moved back into open forum. I'm sorry. We won't.
No mention.
So we need to vote on the recommendation, councillors. So the recommendation is that the general manager be granted the delegated authority to undertake all necessary actions to purchase the property as outlined in the delegated authority section of this confidential report. That upon the successful acquisition of the property, council endorses the classification of the property as community land under the provisions of the Local Government Act 1993. Council approves publicly notifying its intention to classify the property pursuant to section 31 of the Local Government Act 1993. That council vote the funding for the purchase of the property as outlined in the financial implications section of this confidential report, and council be provided with options for the embellishment of the property to be used as public recreational open space at a future council meeting. I put that to you, councillors. All in favour? I move that the motion has been carried unanimously. One moment. We've got all that.
Voting is not required. Voting is not required.
We're not finished the meeting yet. I did, councillor Blackmore and councillor Reading. Okay, so we go back to the script. Yeah. It's all happening. Back in open council. Questions with notice, questions with notice, matters of urgency, confidential. Matter of urgency.
Yes.
Councillor Nursery.
Got a notice of motion.
Sorry?
Got a notice of motion.
Notice of motion. And why is it urgent, councillor?
I can read you the motion and then I can tell you why it's urgent.
All right.
Okay, practice. I move that council resolve, noting that at the 7 February 2023 ordinary meeting of council, Councillor Blackmore declared a non-pecuniary, non-significant conflict of interest in item P4 being a planning proposal from the council. During the 7 February 2023 ordinary meeting of council, Councillor Blackmore stated, "My declaration is actually for PE4. It is a non-significant and non-pecuniary interest. I have met with the proponent of this proposal. Just as a matter of aesthetics, specifically, I'll be vacating and I'll hand over to the Deputy Mayor. Council resolves the council writes to the Office of Local Government and the Independent Commission Against Corruption, referring the allegation of corrupt conduct contained in the statement provided to council. That Councillor Blackmore is censured by the council under section 440F of the Local Government Act New South Wales for failure to comply with the Strathfield Code of Conduct for the reason that Councillor Blackmore failed to properly declare his conflict of interest in item PE4 at the 7 February 2023 meeting. The reason.
Councillor, I have to rule that out of order. I'm terribly sorry. Take a seat. Thank you very much. Okay. Matters of urgency done, confidential matters are done. Conclusion of meeting, there being no further business, I declare that the meeting has been closed at 8:47. Thank you.